And
This
let's
conference
get
will now be
started.
recorded.
All right, as always, everything we'll be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so big shout out to probably the best stock that we had all day to Steve for this call this morning at OPTT. Now, we know that the morning, I mean, it was pretty much just garbage all around, but, he pointed it out. There was some nice ask prints that came in at that 7 level as we were coming back up, and it just really kind of started to run. Now, once the morning opened, that's really when it kind of got a lot more interesting, is because we started to get some prints coming in at that 10 level, as well as on the way up around that 9. So when we ended up pulling back, that's when we really got this trigger for this thing to be able to kick off. Now, we do have buying sitting up at 15. We also have buying that came in just previously at 14, which is really the reason for why we're seeing this thing kind of pull back. Be careful with a stock like this, because the kiss of death can come very, very quickly, even with that buying that's sitting back up at that 15 level. So I'm certainly going to be watching it, but 1150 is very, very important for us to be able to hold. So make sure you have that number written down. And then from there, it's not really going to be a kiss of death until it breaks past this line here at 1050. But overall, I really, really would like to see it hold that 1150 to give us that push back up towards that top. Now, next thing I'm looking at this afternoon is Apple. So Apple has, overall, guys, price target's 200. There's no question in my mind whatsoever that's where the stock is going. And then at 200, I can almost guarantee you, based off the amount of buying that we've seen today, that we're going to see even a huge order get executed at that 200 to show us that we're going to end up going back up above it. Now, the thing is that it's been holding up above fairly well, but we really, really, really need to see this thing pull back from that 195 level. All right, we had ask prints at 194 that it never came back from, which I'm okay with to a certain extent because of how much of a position they've been building up ever since the whole, Oprah came out during the conference. So I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with the 195. They're just too much for us to only pull back pretty much 70 cents. Now, even if it was only 70 cents, I would still be okay with it. But the fact that it's 194 and 195 and 196, I can't get behind it until it makes that drastic pullback. So going to be watching for that this afternoon. Now, I have a few side list stocks. I don't really see anything else out there that really catches my attention, but a few side list stocks. Now, ZYNE, I know you guys were looking at before. We had some buying that came in at that 8. We ended up just pulling back up. This is not my type of stock at all. Now, don't get me wrong. I know it made a beautiful move this morning, but it's just too consolidated within its way of trading. These cheaper stocks have a mind of their own sometimes, and the last thing I want is to get involved with something that's this all over the place. I am going to keep it on our side list, though, because if it changes personalities, I have no problem trading it. It's just the way that I see it right now. I'm not a big fan. Riot's the same type of deal. Riot, it's not typically the type of stock that I'm ever going to trade, but it is, a very beginner level stock. It's going to be, for the most part, very controlled, but it looks like we were going to start to get some volume. I'm keeping it on our side list just for something to look at, but it's at the bottom. And then YRIV. Oof, hard one to say, but the same type of deal. I mean, we have that buying as it was coming back up, but unfortunately, it's just not my type of stock. In order for this thing to really run, we're going to have to see a complete change in personality. Really, the only reason, because it has that buying up above, that I have it on our side list, and that volume really started to pump in. But if it stays like a quant stock, the problem here is that, this is even lower than what we were talking about with Riot. And now Riot's because, you should probably just know that, what's going to happen. But the problem with YRV is that it looks like it's giving you a trigger, but then it immediately stops afterwards. And I'm not, especially coming into the afternoons, there's no reason I have to trade something. So I am going to be watching those, but I'm not sold on all three of those side list stock by any means. All right, let's take a look at our scanners. I know I just did this, and I don't see anything new that's popping back up. See, SRNE made a real nice move this morning, but the volume just never really got there until it was a little bit too high. So I know I wasn't able to do anything with that at all. I'm looking at SNSS. Nope, nothing going on there. And then coming back over. So pretty much what it looks like is the list that we already have on top of our side list stocks. AVEO made a nice little run coming before, but it's the same type of deal. You get that trigger, but it's not really a trigger when the stock really only moves about 4 cents, because that trigger follow through, you have the trigger, which is 2 cents, and then follow through is a cent. You end up with that 3 cent move, and now you're stuck in the stock. So that's why it's not my cup of tea, not a stock that you'll ever really see me trading unless something changes in personality and I have a billion shares of it, but just not something that, like I said, that I'm really that interested in right now. Other than that, Facebook, as we were just talking about in the chat room, Facebook is certainly on my list. I don't know what the hell happened. But that's a quick, if you want to pull back and you want to get it quick before you're able to actually, get this thing going, you know what? That's a perfect way to do it. So we're going to be watching Facebook very closely. I haven't seen any controlling prints yet in here that I'm sold on for where to go, because you can see that volume's starting to consolidate. It's really starting to drop off. So I want to see something definitive. Give me 4 or 5 prints in there, and we'll be ready to go. Tim, am I in the wrong meeting, guys, or did I just type the wrong thing? Ah, what an idiot. Yeah, I was doing a bunch of things at once. Okay, well, hopefully hopefully everyone figured that out, because I didn't already make the link for tomorrow. All right, guys, so anything else out there that I missed? Our everyday stocks are moving a little bit. Unfortunately, they just don't have the volume behind them, which is, it's common occurrence for what we see during our afternoons. But 1 p.m. some big money at 2020 June. Let me see. At 1 p.m. some big. Richard posted this for roughly 5 million in breach of news leaked beforehand. Very typical Wall Street bullshit. Wow, interesting. GME, guys, I mean, it was just an absolutely phenomenal trade this morning, but the rest of it's just been garbage. Now, this was when it was trading like a regular stock. I mean, beautiful prints at 9. It pulled back underneath. We knew we were in a print line at 889. We got the trigger back up. It got to 10. It had the buying to get to 10. It's just, I just can't trade a stock that can't consistently get volume coming into it. So, overall, guys, more S prints at 10, showing it wants to go back up even more. I'd start with 25 cents right now, but overall, you're looking at about a 10.50. So it looks like it wants to hold above 10 or get above 10. Holding above 10 is going to be rough right now with the volume that we see going on there, especially with these ask prints. There's no way, following our rules, that this thing should be able to hold above there. All right, guys. So other than that, I think we're good. Anything else that pops up? We've been getting some cheaper stocks that have been popping up today. So I'm going to be scanning a lot as we go in. I do have a meeting with Paul in a few minutes, but other than that, I'm up here for the rest of the day. All right, guys. So let's get at it. I'll talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.